After a week off, we are set for the final 2 weeks of competition here at the Stafford Motor Speedway for the 2021 season. Hard to believe we are well into the month of September. Kyle, Rickey, and Bonssa Tufa set to preview a double dip of action this week, and it begins on Friday night with another round of our 5 weekly divisions, including the SK Modifieds. Can Steven Kopsick's streak continue?
I don't know, the way it's been going, Kyle, 3 in a row, nobody can stop him right now. But Todd Owen is still right there with them. And those two have been going head-to-head for the past 3 weeks, which is only fitting because they're the 2 championship contenders. But that point gap is narrowing up every single week. Now it's down to 14 after Kopsick went 3 in a row. So if he keeps that up, he might be able to catch up to Todd. And for Todd, he doesn't even like talking about points. He tells us not to talk about points. He just wants to go out there and race and try to get that first title that's eluded him for so long.
If you're coming over here to talk about points, go away, I believe is what he said a couple of weeks ago. If you take out the drop rule, and this is something we should talk about now because it's going to happen here this weekend, where every competitor's lowest finish of the season that wasn't a disqualification will be literally dropped from their point total. You drop Steven's worst race, you drop Todd's worst race, and suddenly that point gap narrows up even more.
Yeah, because Steven had one pretty bad race where he got caught up in an accident with Tyler Hines off of turn 4. Owen has had his share of incidents, but he never really finished outside the top 15. He's always had a solid top 10, top 12 finish throughout all of the years. So the fact that Todd hasn't had a bad race makes it even tougher for him, or actually better for him, I should say, because he has that one mulligan just in case he hasn't issued the last 2 weeks. Kopsick already had his one mulligan. He can't have another one.
With the drop rule, it'll be 2 points between those two,
wow.
But that'll be determined after this Friday night's competition. You can't drop any races going into the championship event, obviously. What you have going into next week is what you have. In the late models, brand new winner. Good to see John Blake in victory lane a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we've seen him up front at the start of these late model races. He usually does a good job of holding on to the lead for the first 10 or so laps, the first 15 laps, but this time he was able to hold put for the whole entire feature. Good to see that 61 car in victory lane, another first-time winner in the late models, and that's his first win ever at Stafford in general, so a new Stafford Speedway winner. So good for John Blake on getting that W. In the points battle, though, Adam Gray a good run. Michael Bennett had a couple issues during the race, including a wild slide through the infield grass, which was wet. And in the end, we have a new point leader.
We do. Adam Gray by 4 points over Michael Bennett. With the drop rule, that margin is cut in half to 2 points. That's how tight it is.
So that's 2 divisions already with the drop rule enacted have points gaps of just 2. That's insane.
In the SK Light Modifieds, a familiar face back to victory lane after about 6 weeks off, the winningest driver over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, Derek Debus, win number 6, and a clutch win because the week before he had an incident where he lost the point lead as a result. Now with this win, he's tightened the point gap. He didn't get the point lead back, but he's a whole lot closer now, and it's incredible because the top 3, at least before the drop, 10 points apart. It's Alex Pearl first in the points, and then Brian Sullivan, the defending champion, and then Derek Debus. And Debus, he has a tendency to be clutch with these wins. So if he has one more clutch win in him, who knows, you might see him on top.
So 10 points between the top 3 without the drop. With the drop, 4 points between the top 3. Derek Debus, as I look at the numbers here, is 4 points behind, tied with Brian Sullivan, and Alex Pearl has a 4-point lead over both of those drivers. That's how tight it is right now with 3 races to go for these competitors because they're in action this Saturday as well, along with Friday night.
Which makes me wonder if they're going to try and take it a little bit easy on Friday so they can make it to Saturday because it's going to be hard to repair a damaged car within 24 hours. But at the same time, you got the point battle they got to worry about, and the rest of the field just wants to win too. So it'll be interesting to see how their approaches are coming this Friday, knowing that they have to race again on Saturday.
Another division running both races this weekend on Friday night, and again part of the Napa Fall Final on Saturday, the limited late models, and once again a familiar face back in victory lane just 2 Friday nights ago, and Alexandra Fern.
Seemed like it's been a while since she was in victory lane. She had such a hot start to the year, but for the last month or so, it's been a 2nd, 3rd, 4th place car. Finally got back to victory lane. Win number 5 on the year for her, a career high for her as well, and it helps her in the points lead. But she did have one bad race this year, so she already lost that mulligan with the drop rule. Jeremy Lavoie, he hasn't really had a bad race. He's been a consistent top 5 car pretty much throughout the year. So even if Jeremy has a bad race, it may not affect him as much because of the drop rule, but that points battle is still nowhere near settled.
It is not. 12 points between the top 2 without the drop. With the drop, Alexandra probably the only point leader. That's okay with the drop rule because it would extend her lead, as I look at it, to 26 back to Jeremy Lavoie.
Yeah, because she had that one bad race. So Jeremy Lavoie has to stay consistent, kind of have to hope for the best with Alex having another issue, but at the same time, it's happened before, it can happen again. We have 13 limited late models in the field almost every week now, so if you finish in the front and Alex finishes in the back, that's over 20 points right there.
And we'll wrap up our preview of Friday night's competition with the street stocks. And once again, another great race between the two drivers that we've talked about, I feel like, all summer long, Frank Litwell and Chris Meyer.
Yeah, it was a great battle between those two, and once again they finished 1-2. Chris Meyer, a huge win for him because the race before he lost a tire in the feature and had the DNF as a result, and Frank ended up winning that race. So Meyer able to return to victory lane. That's his 5th win of the year. Both he and Litwell have 5 wins on the season. The points battle not as tight for those two guys, but the street stock field has been so big throughout the year. We're getting 23 to 26 cars on a weekly basis, and those starts, the starts of the features are absolutely insane. We have cars 2 and 3 wide throughout the field, so you gotta be really careful and be very methodical working your way through the field and hope you don't find trouble.
22 points, the lead right now for Frank Litwell over Chris Meyer. With the drop, it's narrowed up to just 16 points with 2 races to go for the street stock. So it's going to come down to Napa Championship night next Friday night.
Well, we had a lot of drama in last year's championship.
We did. Yes, we did.
So it can be no different this year. We know those guys put on a show, and they're not afraid to give each other the bumper, rub each other. We've seen a lot of great action. We've seen them in the grass. We've seen them slide up towards the wall. We've seen all types of racing between those two. So who knows what championship night will bring.
And all of that action part of a busy doubleheader weekend of racing here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. Friday night for those 5 weekly divisions here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. And don't forget, we're back on Saturday for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Championship race, part of the Napa Fall Final. All of the information can be found at StaffordSpeedway.com, and on Friday night, all of our action gets underway right around 6 o'clock Eastern Time, and if you can't be here in person, you can tune us in on FlowRacing.com.